At the beginning of the story, we see a 19-year-old boy named Alex who is being taken to prison in a police van for a theft case. Alex has been sentenced to 6 months in jail. However, the prison he is being sent to is extremely dangerous. Spending even 6 months there is a huge challenge because the prison is filled with ruthless inmates who brutally torture weaker and newly arrived prisoners. After reaching the prison, Alex is thoroughly searched, and then security guards begin escorting him toward his cell. As he walks through the corridors, every prisoner stares at him aggressively, which terrifies Alex. Eventually, the guards lock him inside his cell, where another prisoner of Alex's age is already present. That boy looks extremely frightened. Alex tries to talk to him, but the boy keeps his face turned toward the wall and does not respond at all. Alex cannot understand what has happened to him or why he is so scared. Somehow, Alex manages to survive his first night in the prison. The very next day, he discovers the reason behind the boy's fear. Alex sees 3 extremely dangerous inmates taking that boy with them. He soon realizes that they sexually assault him every day, which is why the boy always remains terrified and depressed. Seeing this, Alex becomes very scared because he is the same age as that boy and also shares the same cell with him. Alex begins to fear that those men might do the same thing to him as well. While those 3 inmates are taking the boy upstairs, Alex notices a very tall and muscular prisoner passing by them. As soon as they see him, all 3 of them step aside fearfully and give him way. That big man goes and sits next to a prisoner named Brandon. From this, Alex understands that Brandon is the inmate everyone in the prison fears. Alex realizes that if he wants to survive in this prison, he must ally himself with Brandon. At that time, Brandon is playing chess with his companion. Alex approaches him and says, "You're about to lose because you're playing the wrong move." Hearing this, Brandon gets angry and challenges Alex to defeat him. Alex then steps forward and defeats Brandon in a single move. Brandon is shocked and highly impressed by Alex's intelligence. When Alex returns to his cell later, he sees his cellmate sharpening a knife. Alarmed, Alex asks him why he is doing that. The boy replies that he is fed up with being abused every day, and the next time those 3 inmates come to assault him, he plans to kill them. Alex feels deep sympathy for him. The next day, when those inmates come again to take the boy, Alex acts wisely and starts fighting with the boy himself. He does this intentionally so that the security guards will arrive and the boy can be saved. As expected, the guards rush in after seeing the fight and lock both of them in separate cells. Because of Alex's clever move, the boy is saved for the time being, and the 3 inmates are forced to leave empty-handed. Brandon witnesses all of this and becomes even more impressed by Alex. A few days later, Alex is released from isolation. Brandon approaches him and warns him that the prison is full of extremely dangerous people. He advises Alex to take care of himself first before thinking about others and never pick unnecessary fights in prison or he will be killed. Sometime later, Alex again sees those 3 inmates harassing the boy and taking him away to assault him. Unable to endure this torture any longer, the boy slashes his own throat inside the cell. Alex screams for the guards, but due to excessive bleeding, the boy dies before they arrive. The guards take away his body, leaving Alex deeply shaken. The next day, those same inmates start targeting Alex. He manages to escape them and reaches his cell, where he sharpens his toothbrush into a weapon so he can defend himself if they attack him. Later, when Alex goes to the bathroom, the 3 inmates find him alone and chase him. Just as they are about to catch him, Brandon arrives. He rescues Alex and takes him to his own room. Seeing Brandon, the 3 inmates have no choice but to back off and leave. Brandon explains to Alex that he cannot escape from those men on his own, nor can he kill them with just a toothbrush. However, Brandon tells him that he can protect. As long as Alex stays under his protection, no one in the prison will dare to touch him. But in return, Alex will have to do one thing for him. Brandon reveals that he is planning to escape from prison, and Alex can help him with that plan. He tells Alex that after 6 months, when Alex is released from prison, he will have to complete one unfinished task for him. Brandon then explains his entire prison escape plan to Alex. The plan is extremely risky, and Alex becomes unsure whether he should agree or not. Brandon then tells Alex that he managed to save him today, but he cannot protect him every single day. However, if Alex agrees to his plan, Brandon guarantees that no one in the prison will ever come near him. Hearing this, Alex finally agrees. The next day, those same inmates once again corner Alex in the bathroom and are about to assault him. Just at that moment, Brandon arrives with his men and starts beating those 3 inmates. Brandon warns their leader that if he values his life, he should stay away from Alex from now on. However, that inmate dares to challenge Brandon. Enraged, Brandon orders his men to kill him. His men grab the inmate and throw him off the rooftop, killing him instantly. Seeing this, all the prisoners become terrified, and from that day onward, no one dares to come near Alex. Time passes, and eventually the day arrives when Alex is released from prison. As soon as he gets out, he follows Brandon's instructions and goes to meet a gangster named Mark. Alex hands him a letter written by Brandon. After reading the letter, Mark gives Alex a suitcase and the keys to a house. Mark also sends one of his men, Josh, along with Alex. Josh clearly does not like like Alex at all. When Alex reaches the house, he is shocked to see how luxurious it is. The house is built right beside the sea. Alex then opens the suitcase Mark gave him. Inside, he finds a cell phone, several passports belonging to Brandon, and a gun. While Alex is examining these items, there is a knock at the door. When he opens it, he sees a girl named Natasha. She comes inside and hands Alex some money and another cell phone. Confused, Alex asks her why he needs this phone. Natasha tells him that he will receive instructions about what he needs to do next through that phone. After saying this, she leaves. The next day, following the plan, Alex goes to meet a man who shows him a collection of extremely dangerous weapons. Alex is shocked to see them. The man then takes Alex to an open field, gives him a gun, and trains him in how to use firearms. After learning how to use weapons, Alex goes to a private airline tour company as part of Brandon's plan and books a helicopter ride over the city. Alex places his bag inside the helicopter. The pilot assumes it contains personal belongings and does not check it. Once the helicopter reaches a high altitude, Alex pulls out a weapon from the bag and points it at the pilot, ordering him to fly to a specific location. In reality, Alex is forcing the pilot to take him to the prison where Brandon is being held. Meanwhile, Brandon is already aware that Alex is coming to rescue him by helicopter, so he begins preparing for his escape. According to the plan, Brandon starts fighting with one of his fellow inmates. When the guards rush in to stop the fight, Brandon grabs one guard, puts a knife to his throat, and drags him toward the exit. He threatens the other guard, saying that if the door is not opened, he will kill the hostage. To save his colleague's life, the guard opens the door. Shortly after Brandon gets outside, Alex arrives in the helicopter and opens fire on the prison guards. Taking advantage of the chaos, Brandon and his men board the helicopter and also start firing at the guards. Within moments, they manage to escape far from the prison. After flying some distance, they land, change their clothes, and escape in a car. They then go straight to meet Mark. Mark is extremely happy to see Brandon free. He tells Brandon about a massive heist plan in which they will steal gold from a gold mine. Mark says that if they succeed, they will never need to steal again. Everyone begins preparing for the robbery. Outside, near the swimming pool, Alex notices Natasha. He walks up to her and starts talking to her. Josh already hates Alex, and on top of that, he likes Natasha. So seeing Alex get close to her makes him furious. Out of jealousy, Josh pushes Alex into the swimming pool. Alex does not know how to swim and starts drowning. Natasha notices this immediately and jumps into the water to save him. Everyone present starts laughing at Alex for not knowing how to swim despite being an adult. Feeling humiliated and hurt, Alex leaves the place. While he is walking alone on the road, Natasha arrives in a luxury car, stops beside him, and takes him to a restaurant. There, she orders food and the two start talking for a long time. Slowly, Alex begins to develop feelings for Natasha. Natasha asks Alex how someone as decent as him got involved with criminals like them. Alex replies that he may look innocent, but she should not make the mistake of underestimating him. Then Alex asks Natasha how she ended up with this group. Natasha tells him that she is an immigrant, desperately needs money, and after this final robbery, she plans to leave the country forever. That night, when Alex returns home, Brandon gets very angry with him and warns him never to go anywhere without informing him again. Brandon also tells Alex to stay away from Natasha, saying she is distracting him and affecting his focus. After that, Brandon takes Alex near the gold mine where they are planning the robbery. He shows him the location and explains that Alex's job will be to enter a specific building and make sure no one can activate the emergency alarm. Later, Brandon recruits an old friend who is a professional car racer so they can escape quickly after the robbery. Once the team is complete, Brandon explains the entire plan using a map. During this briefing, Josh starts mocking Alex again. This time, Alex loses his temper and the two get into a physical fight. Brandon steps in and separates them, then tells Alex to go outside and cool his head. Alex walks into a bar where he finds Natasha again. He sees some men harassing her. Furious, Alex pulls out his gun and scares them away. Natasha is deeply impressed by this. The day of the robbery finally arrives. Everyone wears security guard uniforms so they can blend in as workers. At the site, they show fake ID cards and easily gain entry. Once inside, Brandon orders Alex to go through the ventilation system to reach the control room, disable all CCTV cameras, and unlock the doors. Alex successfully carries out the task, disables the cameras, wears a monkey mask, and jumps into the control room. He points a gun at a worker and forces him to open the main door. As soon as the door opens, Brandon and the rest of the crew storm inside. They gather all guards and workers in one corner. Brandon assures them that they will not be harmed and that they only want the gold. Brandon tells Josh to watch over the hostages while he goes to melt the gold. Josh, who actually works for Mark and not Brandon, gets angry at being ordered around and shoots a worker in the leg for fun. Enraged, Brandon hits Josh hard in the face with the butt of his gun, knocking him to the ground. Brandon then forces a worker to melt the gold. Soon, 3 large gold slabs are prepared, cooled, and packed into bags. Just as they are about to leave, they discover that the police have surrounded the entire area. Panic spreads, but Brandon stays calm. He orders everyone to wear worker uniforms again. Using some workers as cover, they exit the building. building. The police cannot immediately distinguish between workers and thieves. Suddenly, Brandon and his men open fire, and chaos erupts. At that moment, Brandon's racer friend arrives at full speed. One by one, everyone jumps into the car and escapes. The police chase them and open fire. One bullet hits the driver, killing him, but even in his final moments, he manages to block the police vehicle, allowing the team to escape. They hide the car inside a truck and transport it to a safe location, where Mark is already waiting. Brandon hands over all the gold to Mark, whose job is to sell it and distribute the money equally. However, after receiving the gold, Mark's behavior changes. He angrily asks Brandon why he assaulted Josh. Brandon explains that the plan was meant to be silent, but Josh fired a shot and alerted the police. Mark says nothing, takes the gold, and leaves. Meanwhile, Natasha is waiting for Alex and packing her belongings to escape the city. Suddenly, there is a knock on her door. One of Mark's men enters and tells her that Mark knows she is trying to flee and has sent him to kill her. He attacks Natasha, but she manages to escape and run away. Natasha immediately calls Alex and warns him that Mark has betrayed everyone. She tells him that Mark plans to keep all the gold and kill them all. She also warns Alex that the police will soon arrive at his house to arrest him. Natasha warns Alex not to return home at any cost. Alex immediately informs Brandon about this. Acting smartly, Brandon stops his car a short distance away from his house. Moments later, they see police vehicles arriving and surrounding Brandon's house from all sides. Thanks to Natasha's warning, they stop in time and narrowly escape being arrested. Brandon then calls Mark and confronts him about the betrayal. However, Mark completely denies knowing Brandon and coldly says that all the gold is now with him and Brandon cannot do anything about it. Enraged, Brandon hangs up. He, Alex, and Natasha regroup and start planning how to get their share of the gold back. Brandon quickly figures out where Mark is planning to sell the gold and decides to steal it from him during the deal. For this plan, they need money. Brandon takes Alex to a graveyard, digs near a grave, and pulls out a bag full of cash. He explains that they will use this money to travel to Melbourne, where Mark is going to sell the gold. Soon, all three head toward Melbourne. After reaching Melbourne, they stay at a bar where Brandon and Alex see their photos on TV. The news reports them as suspects in the gold robbery. However, Brandon notices something strange. Josh's photo is missing. This confirms his suspicion that Mark has framed them. Brandon then hires a man and pays him to track down Mark's location. Meanwhile, Natasha goes out to bring food for them, unaware that someone is following her. When she returns, she overhears Brandon telling Alex that he should distance himself from Natasha because she is distracting him from the mission. Hearing this, Natasha feels hurt and angry and leaves. Alex notices her leaving and runs after her. Natasha believes they are planning to betray her, but Alex reassures her, promising that he will stay with her till the end and that she misunderstood everything. Back at the hotel, the man who was following Natasha enters Brandon's room and points a gun at him. He reveals that Mark sent him to kill Brandon. Brandon calmly offers him double the money Mark promised and shares his plan to steal the gold from Mark. Tempted by greed, the man switches sides and gives Brandon the exact location of Mark's gold deal. The next day, they attack the deal location. Mark is not present himself and has sent Josh instead. A fierce gunfight breaks out. Brandon's team kills Josh's men and captures Josh alive. They take him to their hideout and interrogate him about the gold's location. Josh refuses to speak despite being beaten badly. Brandon then locks him inside a freezer for an hour. Completely broken, Josh finally reveals where the gold is hidden. Once they retrieve the gold, Brandon knows Mark will never let them live. Brandon and Alex confront Mark directly. Brandon points a gun at him, and before Mark can react, Brandon shoots and kills him. Afterward, Brandon and Alex hide in a hotel room, where Brandon hides the suitcase full of gold under his bed. Knowing the police will soon be after them, they decide to escape the city by boat. Midway through the journey, Brandon suddenly points a gun at Alex and orders him to get off the boat. He says that now he has the gold and no longer needs Alex. Alex smiles and asks Brandon if he has even checked the suitcase. Confused, Brandon opens it and discovers that instead of gold, it contains iron plates. Furious, he demands answers. Alex reveals that he and Natasha planned this together. When Alex and Brandon went to kill Mark, Alex gave Natasha the hotel room key. Natasha secretly replaced the gold with iron plates and took the real gold. Alex hands Brandon the phone and Natasha's on the line. She warns Brandon that if he harms Alex, she will immediately inform the police. In a rage, Brandon pushes Alex into the water, but then realizes Alex cannot swim. He quickly pulls Alex back onto the boat. Brandon asks why Alex didn't just escape with all the gold. Alex replies that Brandon helped him survive when no one else did, and he didn't want to betray him. Alex promises Brandon his rightful share of the gold, then leaves him behind and sails away in a smaller boat. Alex reunites with Natasha, and the two embrace each other. Meanwhile, Brandon goes to a laundromat to clean his clothes. A woman there notices his photo in the newspaper and realizes he is wanted by the police. She informs them immediately. Soon after, the police arrive and arrest Brandon, sending him back to prison. A few days later, Brandon receives a letter from Alex. In it, Alex reveals that Brandon's share of the gold has been buried in the same graveyard. The letter also includes a photo of Natasha, pregnant, showing that Alex and Natasha are now a couple. simple. Seeing this, Brandon smiled. And with this, the story comes to an end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next amazing story. Take care. Bye.